I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime, and this is Currents. She always helped others, and now a Brooklyn nun is honored by the city.
She always had time to listen, and if you had something was bothering you, she'd catch it right away.
It's not American Idol, but some local teens try out for the opportunity of a lifetime.
It's a win-win. I get something and I give back.
And there's extra innings, but this game takes it to the limit.
What better way to create a large fundraiser than to make it last for 24 hours?
Well, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We want to start off tonight with the story of one nun who had such a big impact that she received a distinct honor this past weekend, having part of a street in Brooklyn named after her.
A portion of West 4th Street in Gravesend is now known as Sister Jane Talbot Way, outside of Our Lady of Grace Parish. It's the community where Sister Jane showed the way for many years as a pastoral minister. Sister Jane had an affinity for helping the poor and the elderly, something that she did repeatedly throughout her lifetime.
She died last June, and the parish community wanted to honor her in a very special way, and this past weekend they did.
I was looking for somebody for the pastoral ministry program because I knew we had a lot of old people, we had a lot of sick people in the parish, and there was nobody to minister to them. And as soon as I met Sister Jane, I knew I was going to hire her. All the programs that she began are still in existence till today.
And she always had time to listen. She always gave people the time to express themselves. And if you had something was bothering you, she'd catch it right away. She'd know what's the matter, something like that. And you open up to her, and she was there for you.
Back in 1950, the motto that she chose when she became a nun was, "Behold the handmaid of the Lord." She really lived up to that motto. A lot of good work visiting the sick in hospitals and in homes. She would hand out food to the people who were homeless under the Bell Parkway. And then the mayor closed that up, and so she found out some of the homeless were going towards Bright Beach, so she decided then to start bringing food to Bright Beach. And that's been going on for close to 15 years.
My 17 years working with her, I saw in her a lot of the qualities that I've thought about for myself. I looked at people differently. She told us, no matter who it is, from where they come, regardless of race, religion, anything, once they enter our doors, they are not to be turned away.
There was a person that was studying to become a nurse. She was very, very poor, and they were living from hand to mouth. And Jane took care of her baby, newborn baby, here in the pastoral ministry office for about 6 months. She did all these things, with such vitality and with such love.
She touched many lives. You just felt great in her presence. I think there's not enough that could be done so people don't forget her.
Father Catrone one day realized that he needed help, and he discovered a very special lady, Sister Jane. It is my privilege to dedicate this street so that each and every time we pass it, we will remember a truly unique woman who meant so much to this community.
By the time I was 12, I noticed that Aunt Jane always wore this necklace. It seemed like it was a part of her. I knew it was a symbol of mercy, which was so important to her and her order. But to me, it also seemed part of her uniform, that this was something that she was rarely seen without. Some casual night, I mentioned to her that I liked it. She immediately took it off and gave it to me. I see head nodding, because I think many of you are not surprised by that generosity. To me, it seemed so important to her, and yet she was so willing to share it so quickly. I've worn it for the last 30 years as a reminder to me of Sister Jane Talbot's way of generosity and her lack of material attachment.
We think of her all the time as it is because she's part of all of our lives. She's part of the fabric of this whole parish. But that'll just be an extra reminder. We're proud to have that there. We were proud to have her here.
A very special lady to so many. Well, the neighborhood around Our Lady of Grace is predominantly Italian, and although Sister Jane was part English, Irish, and French, she also considered herself part Italian.
Well, stay tuned. There's much more currents straight ahead. When we return, we'll have the day's headlines, including a priest in New Orleans who gets a pat on the back from President Obama.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime. Coming up just a bit later, we'll introduce you to some people who went extra innings, all for a good cause.
But first, let's check out the day's headlines. Confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Elena Kagan are set to begin on June 28th, but one pro-life group says not so fast. Kagan is President Obama's choice to succeed Justice John Paul Stevens on the nation's high court. But Dr. Charmaine Yost, the head of the group Americans United for Life, says she's deeply concerned that senators will not have enough time to review Kagan's record before confirmation hearings get underway. Yost also says committee members need more time to review documents related to Kagan's work in the Clinton administration. Senate Judiciary Committee member Jeff Sessions of Alabama has also called for more time. Without it, he says that the Senate could be headed for a train wreck in those hearings. Well, elsewhere in Washington, President Obama acknowledged Louisiana priest Father Vien Nguyen on Monday for his efforts in cleaning up from the Gulf oil spill. Father Nguyen is the pastor of Mary, Queen of Vietnam Church in New Orleans. The president said Father Nguyen was influential in the cleanup after Hurricane Katrina, and now he's leading efforts to minimize the oil spill's impact on fisheries.
Today, as communities in the Gulf face new hardships as the result of this ongoing oil spill, he's once more taken up the cause of his community. He's advocating on behalf of the many Vietnamese and Cambodian Americans and others who make their living shrimping and fishing. And I want him to know that we are going to be tireless in working to do everything we can to support the community and everybody whose livelihoods have been imperiled down in the region.
The president made his remarks at an event to celebrate the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Meantime, a special mass for mariners and others who make a living on the sea was held over the weekend in Washington, D.C. The event, of course, took on special significance this year in light of the Gulf oil spill. Washington Archbishop Donald Wuerl said during his homily that the tragedy reminds us of how life-giving the water is and how it touches all of us in one way or another. And as oil continues to spew from busted pipes below the sea, Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal said crews had begun to work on a chain of sandbags and containment booms that would skirt the state's coastline. Oil from the spill has made its way at least 12 miles into Louisiana's marshes. Meanwhile, BP plans to try to plug the leak with a so-called top kill procedure on Wednesday. And that procedure involves shooting heavy mud into the well and then covering it with cement.
Well, do you think that after most adults become parents, they start going to church more often? Well, think again. According to a new Barna Group study, that common assumption is not a common reality. Half of all parents in the U.S. told researchers that having children did not change their church-going habits at all. Among Christian parents, that number was 47%. The study shows just 17% of non-church-going parents reconnected with church after having kids, and only 5% began attending for the first time. Well, Catholics in Brazil are mourning the loss of a priest who was shot and killed there just days ago. Details are sketchy, but reports say 35-year-old Father Rubens de Almeida Goncalves died Friday from a gunshot wound to the head. A spokesman for his diocese said Father Goncalves died in the full exercise of his priestly ministry and remembered the priest as someone with a passion for evangelization. Witnesses report an unidentified man became angry and shot Father Goncalves after the priest denied his request to lease the parish hall. And finally, happy anniversary to the Jesuits. As the order celebrates, it is also offering a glimpse into its past. We get details now from Rome Reports.
The Society of Jesus celebrates its 470th anniversary by opening the doors of its oldest homes in Rome, a major event because some of the places, like the St. Mary Assunta Chapel, have never been open to the public. The initiative is called Unexpected Connections, Journey to the Heart of the Society, and it includes guided tours by groups of young Jesuits.
The idea was started a couple years ago with preparations by various university students to open up our doors. It's been a collaborative effort among Jesuits who work in different areas. Reaching agreement on the preparations has not always been easy, but it's produced good results.
St. Ignatius lived in these rooms. In addition to its symbolic value, there are several objects of historical value, like the copy of his face made a few hours after his death, or his shoes, all a symbol of the Society of Jesus because they represent its strengths in helping the whole world. One of the treasures that draws the most attention is a painting of the Virgin with baby Jesus that St. Ignatius conserved with great devotion.
When he was about to die, St. Ignatius wanted his bed moved into his room. The painting is the only object that has stayed in its place. Without a doubt, it's always been in this same place on the wall.
Another one of the places less well known is the surprising fresco by Andrea Pozzo with the perspective technique in a short hallway to the rooms.
It's a rare opportunity for everyone who comes for a visit, but it's also an occasion for us, Jesuits, to open our doors to people. We're not used to having people in our house.
An occasion to know the heart of the Jesuits and discover places that have been considered private for 470 years.
Well, stay tuned. There's much more Currents coming up.
Just ahead, meet tomorrow's leaders today.
It kind of gives me that chance to use that spirituality that I have and that mentality that I have to help give back to the community.
Welcome back. Well, American Idol wrapping up its season this week, but for those who can't head out to Hollywood for the finals, you know, you could have gotten just a little taste of the excitement and all the anticipation right here in Brooklyn a couple of weeks back.
The Kujenga Youth Group in the diocese hosted tryouts for its Youth Leadership Ambassador program, looking for young people with potential who are ready to step up and become involved in the church. Our cameras were there at St. Gregory the Great Church for some of the interviews.
I'm dedicated, I'm compassionate, I'm caring, I'm a good listener, I'm a good talker, I'm a good leader. I like leading people a lot.
Okay, are you bossy?
Some people say that. But I can follow people too.
We're going to invite you to come out to be a part of Ambassador program.
Leadership skills, teach about communication skills. We have sessions.
The Ambassador Youth Leadership Program. The youth that we ask to join our program are what we feel to be future leaders. Okay, they're youth who are involved in school activities, the youth that are involved in church activities. Usually they may belong to a youth group already. We want them to see that that is not where it ends. Today we have approximately 12 youth to interview from Brooklyn.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming out to the interview today. And I think you guys really have a lot to offer. We just finished our first year, and it really been a success. Bishop Sensorique, Father Caleb, really saw that there was a need to be, especially in the black community, to teach them leadership skills, but also to teach them about their faith, and to be able to mesh those two together.
With the Ambassador program, it kind of gives me that chance to use that spirituality that I have and that mentality that I have to help give back to the community.
Brandon Cleveland, who this year is going to be an Ambassador of the Year. And the first couple of months in the program, he was so quiet, and to see him coming from like a shy guy to an outspoken guy and taking a leadership role means a lot to us.
Actions do speak louder than words, so that's how I got the courage to, step up, rise up from that, and to help become more involved. And to tell you the truth, it was a great experience for me.
Using that leadership skills that the Ambassador program would give me, I could use that to help my parish grow and give ideas to them to make them grow and prosper. So it's a win-win. I get something and I give back. I'm really nervous. I don't know what I'm going to say in the interview at all. I've dealt with being committed to a lot of things at one time management, knowing what you have to do and your priorities.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you at the retreat.
Okay. I'm very happy right now. I think I did good. Next step, is to be accepted. Next step is to be accepted and to learn and grow.
And we do have some good news. All of those kids that were profiled in the piece, well, they made it into the program. So congratulations to all of them, and really proud of them and their accomplishments.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I mean, you have kids here who obviously already have a passion for people, a passion for leadership, a certain set of leadership skills. And now all of those that we profiled there get the chance to sort of hone in on those and really refine their skills and learn from people who are already there and who have had those leadership positions.
And it's nice to see it happen at a young age because they're fostering something within themselves that they can carry forward in their own life and then be a model for other people. There's an old adage that goes, see one, do one, teach one. And they're sort of in that process of doing and growing to the teaching part, not just seeing it. So they're kind of going from learning to actually executing. And as they were saying in the interview there, it seems like they're really great candidates and they'll have a lot to offer, but they get a lot out of it themselves.
Yeah. And being leaders in their community is one aspect of it. Obviously, being leaders in their church is, you know, something that's obviously a big part of it as well, as they mentioned there in the piece. So good to see that. We're learning some great leadership skills.
Father Caleb doing some good work. We like it.
There you go. Well, stay with us. There's much more Currents still to come. When we return, forget about being a couch potato. They played baseball for an entire day.
It's great. I feel like a professional baseball player when I'm playing on one of these fields.
Well, baseball season is in full swing, and for those who just can't get enough, well, you should have been in Coney Island last weekend, where New York City had its first ever 24-hour baseball game. Can you imagine playing for 24 hours straight? It was played entirely by kids.
It's a lot of baseball, yes. 24 hours of runs, hits, errors, and, well, I would suspect a lot of peanuts and Cracker Jack as well. It was sponsored by the Holy Family Council of the Knights of Columbus to benefit local charities, and we caught up with the game on Sunday during the final innings.
We're here at MCU Park for the final couple of hours of our marathon 24-hour youth baseball game. We decided to put on a fundraiser, and we wanted it to be a large one. So we thought, what better way to create a large fundraiser than to make it last for 24 hours? Instead of having a couple of guys take the field and play for 24 hours themselves, we thought, why not invite an entire league from 5-year-olds up to 18-year-olds to take the field and sort of act as consecutive teammates over the course of a 24-hour period, participate in a marathon baseball game. Our primary beneficiary is Fisher House. And Fisher House is a great charity that builds comfort homes on VA hospital grounds. When there's a soldier who's sick or injured or had surgery or someone otherwise is in a VA hospital, families have a home to go to on the hospital grounds. These comfort homes are just a great idea that support our military families. The Knights of Columbus is a patriotic order, and we were very happy to partner with them as a beneficiary. We wanted to do a fundraiser that would sort of result in a substantial draw that would allow us to do the work that the Knights of Columbus does, which is, provide financial and spiritual and emotional support to people in need, to give back to the community. And we thought that's just a great idea. It's just everyone loves baseball, kids love baseball, people want to support baseball, and baseball can support charity. So, we wanted to put all those things together, and we knew that this was going to be a win-win for everyone involved. These kids get to come here and play on a professional baseball field, and we've tried to maximize the effect of that on the kids.
It's great. I feel like a professional baseball player when I'm playing on one of these fields. I got a base hit a home run, and I got to play on a professional baseball field.
It's just great to be here. I mean, these are father and son moments that I wouldn't miss for the world. And ever since I started throwing to him in the backyard when he was 4 years old, I mean, you dream of moments like this, to play on a professional field and to watch your son compete and to do well.
And we tried to get every kid to step into home plate, have their name announced over the PA system, take a few cuts at a ball, and run the bases.
Number 17, Joe Mazzola.
Just like coming out here, seeing the bases, playing. It's just a great experience, and it's great that we could do it all for charity, and I hope we could do it again.
And a great job by everybody who organized this event.
It was awesome today.
It's a great experience to be out on a day like this. Just to be out here with my son, at a ballpark, helping raising money for charity. It's just a wonderful thing.
You know, 24 hours ago, we all got here. We were eager with anticipation. We were excited. We played through the afternoon, through the overnight, under the lights. Now we are 2 hours away from the end of our event, and we are exhausted and euphoric.
That's quite a score.
Right, root for the home team there, and they pulled it through. But no, that's so cool. It's a venue, of course, that you're familiar with. It used to be called Keyspan Park, now MCU Park, just recently renamed. But yeah, it's looked like a lot of fun. I remember being, of course, as you know, and as a lot of people I'm sure know, I'm originally from Atlanta, and the radio station that I used to work for was the station for the Braves, the Atlanta Braves. And I got to go I was morning show producer at the time, and I got to go do a behind the scenes video with one of the morning show hosts of like a tour of Turner Field where the Braves play. Like the coolest experience ever, like walking onto the field of a professional baseball field. Oh my gosh, was just so great. So I can relate to what those kids were talking about. Just being on that field is so cool.
It's exciting. You almost feel like it's hallowed ground. Like, I'm not really supposed to be here. What am I doing here? I'm not allowed to be here, but you know.
I couldn't hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball if my life depended on it. What am I doing on this field, you know? But.
Well, it's so well manicured. But it's really nice that they were able to do it. And sometimes those 24-hour marathons really bring in a feeling of camaraderie and really sort of get everybody together. And it's a bit of a sacrifice to actually have to, you know, barrel through it and stay up for all that time. And I mean, I'm sure they had some kind of, you know, respite. But at the same time, it's just sort of a nice way for them to be able to show that they're willing to go the distance.
Absolutely.
Quite literally for a good cause.
Right, right, exactly. And I said 98-mile-an-hour fastball. By the way, I'm not sure I could hit a 50-mile-an-hour fastball either. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Now, coming up tomorrow, an acclaimed documentary shows how some are answering the call to serve the church. I'll talk with the man behind that film.
And meantime, remember, you can always watch us online at currentsny.net, and you can also check out our Facebook page. We have a lot of new updates on there. Until next time, I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.